Continuing our coverage here at Solana Accelerate, of course, joining me now is Johann coming in for Robinhood. How are you, man?
Good, how are you?
Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Normally I'm watching you guys do your events and your announcements, and we kind of break them down in the studio, but today we're going to get a chance to talk a little bit more directly with you. Let's get into a little bit in terms of progress made on the Robinhood Chain. Going from testnet to mainnet, where are you guys right now?
Yeah, so we launched the testnet back in February. So far we've seen about 100 million transactions being sent on the testnet, so a good activity at this point, and we see a lot of developers being excited, starting to use our stock token, which is called our tokenized stock offering, to build new DEXs, perpetuals offering. We see some lending product being built as well, so we're already excited. Mainnet is soon, and we think that it's really going to be not just the launch of the chain, but also the launch of the integration of the chain with all the Robinhood products.
All right, so coming soon, sounds like. And you look at that in terms of the advantages that this really brings to Robinhood as a platform. What do you think is the main core element that you think will really kind of achieve a market presence here in terms of moving on to a Robinhood chain right now?
Yeah, for us, we see it as a way to expand internationally a lot faster. When we launched our stock token last year in Europe, the entire infrastructure was built on crypto rails. And so instead of having to go country by country, connecting to brokerage accounts manually for 30 countries in the EU, we were able to do it at once. And we think we can do the same thing, but at the entire global stage, using tokenized assets. And not just for US stocks and ETF, but we think we can connect to more exchanges from the London, Frankfurt, Singapore, more, but also private equity, real estate, arts, more things. The concept of tokenized assets works for basically any type of asset, not just the dollar that we know with Stablecoin, but any type of asset. And so we think that in countries where accessibility to banks and to brokerage is pretty difficult, as long as you have a phone and an internet connection, you should be able to connect and actually start building your wealth and your management portfolio.
I think it's going to open up a lot of opportunities, with what you guys are doing in terms of really innovation around some of the products and services for finance. But one of the things that I think a lot of our viewers are dealing with is security. The issue is, of course, recently with the Kelp DAO, within the DeFi, that has maybe made a lot of investors a little bit more gun shy, looking at centralized exchanges as an option here. What are you guys doing in terms of infrastructure security for Robinhood, and how are you advancing that?
Yeah, so for us, a lot of time we try to make sure that anything that we build is with safety first in mind. The concept of launching a product to 27 million customers at once is very daunting. And so any type of new product that we build goes through multiple rounds of security reviews. We do audit and penetration testing, red team testing as well. And the goal is really to make sure that we're ready for prime time. And that's why sometimes if you go on Robinhood, we don't have the feature as fast as some of the competitors. Usually for two reasons. One, we try to make it more adapted to the customer, but also we want to make sure that security is here. And I think that's sometimes one of the default of our industry, the crypto industry, that they are trying to move fast, they are trying to launch products very quickly, and then they fix the problem later. And so in the case of what we've seen in the past couple of months, the issue is it's a lot of money lost, and so you're losing a lot of credibility, a lot of customers are getting hurt. And so, I think it's important for all the actors in the industry to start thinking a bit more about how do we think about security first before launching any product. And, with the advance of AI, with all the new tools that are being developed by some of the companies, we should be able to actually do a lot more at the launch, before the launch, to verify that there is no bug in the code or in the smart contract. We should be able to verify using proof that nothing is bugged. So that's a lot of our time being spent on that. The second thing that we're looking at a lot is the quantum arrival at some point. We think that it's going to be a lot sooner than what we've been discussing in the past few years. There was a research from Google saying that it's coming even sooner than everyone was expecting. And so I think for us, it's very important to make sure that our custody for our customer assets is safe, but also we need to understand like the implication of what will happen to all these chains that are out there with different consensus mechanism, different algorithm, and how we are making them quantum safe, basically.
So you feel that Robinhood is in a position right now. What would you be doing that would really start to lean into quantum resistance right now as a centralized exchange?
Well, we're looking for custody, for example. We want to make sure that no one could find the private key of one of our wallets using quantum technology. So there is a lot of people working on it. It's not just Robinhood, but I think for us, it's definitely top of mind at this point.
Okay. Let's go on to stablecoins, because this has been top of mind for everybody for the last almost a year, ever since the bank started pushing back on stablecoin yields. Now we have clarity language coming through, getting ready to go to the markup phase here in the Senate. It looks as though there may be some opportunity windows here for yields still to be acquired via activity. What do you guys see for the future of stablecoins being held on Robinhood right now? I know you pay on US dollars in terms of yields, but anything planned for stablecoins in the future?
Yeah, that's something that we want to do. We've been very vocal about this, both Vlad and myself on Twitter. We've been trying to explain that we think right now we are putting a customer holding stablecoin at a disadvantage, because to your point, they can sell the stablecoin, get cash, get the entire interest on it. But if a customer is a bit savvy and they want to be able to transfer their stable very quickly and they want to just keep it on the platform, currently they lose some money by not getting the NIM. So we think it's important to fix it. It sounds like with the latest draft, there should be ways for us to be able to pass it. We also heard this morning that the banks are still opposing it. So I think there will be a bit more of a debate, but I think it's really important for us to get the clarity bill to pass. We still have a very fragmented situation in the US where you have different rules, different licenses based on the states. And right now it's the customer that is suffering. So for example, on Robinhood, if you're a customer of 46 states, you can stake your assets on the platform. If you're a customer of 4 states, you cannot. And we get a lot of frustration from our customers. So I think it's important for us to have one framework that we can use and build around. The EU has it with MiCA. I think it's time for the US to have it as well.
Well, MiCA has put it in play much faster than the United States here in terms of infrastructure, especially from a standpoint of getting institutional and also banking lined up. So we're in that play right now, hopefully with clarity coming through. You look at taxes, self-custody. We are seeing a transition now, Johann, of what has been the crypto OGs, and then a whole new crop of new investors coming in who maybe haven't even experienced self-custody yet. What are you guys doing in reference how the advantage for Robinhood, especially around self-custody and taxes, play into the whole ecosystem for you guys?
Yeah, so on the taxes side, for us from the beginning, we offer the 1099 for free to our customers. So if you're trading crypto on the platform, at the end of the year, we'll be able to issue the 1099 that you can use to file your taxes. We also have a tool that if you're transferring assets in, you can put the cost basis of the asset that you transferred in.
Okay, so you can insert it in.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we've been making sure that it's not guarded by any subscription or any fee. We think it's one of these core elements that if you're an investor...
You're saying I don't need Robinhood Gold to do that?
You don't need Robinhood Gold to get the 1099.
All right, that's great.
Yeah, and I think it's important because if you're a first-time investor, which we have a lot of customers on our platform coming for the first time to buy Bitcoin, we don't want to make them pay just to get access to their tax filing. So that's one thing. And then on the self-custody side, we built our own self-custody wallet. It's called Robinhood Wallet. You can transfer most of our assets on the platform on that wallet and self-custody, access DeFi, Web3, all these kind of things.
How integrated is the Robinhood Wallet now to the actual exchange account?
You can easily transfer between the two. I wouldn't say it's integrated, but it's a few taps to actually transfer your money from, let's say, your Robinhood account to your Robinhood Wallet account.
All right, so easy enough.
Yeah, it's very easy.
What about assets?
We have like 15 basic assets, like layer ones, and then every L2 basically we're supporting.
Any plan to increase the number of assets on the platform, right? Especially on crypto.
We've been increasing a lot, to be honest. So if you think about Robinhood, where it was like a year ago, we probably almost triple the number of assets available to trade on spots. And for us, it's a lot of understanding the demand from our customer, but also making sure that there is enough liquidity so that we can offer the best price. So we've been increasing the amount of assets quite a bit. And right now, the main request we are getting is more how do we get more advanced feature, for example, so different type of order types, or being able to trade from the charts, like this kind of thing.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously you guys have launched prediction markets, you've got that moving. Now we're starting to see alternative assets rolling out, much like what Xstocks has done in the past. How big of a market do you think that is in the future? Both those, whether you look at perps and what's happening with something like a prediction market.
Yeah, prediction market is one of our fastest growing business at Robinhood. So it's definitely something where we see a lot of demand. It's a new way to invest for a lot of customers. You can hedge differently your portfolio. And then on perps, it's something that we have in the EU right now. So we have about 12 different contracts with 10x leverage in the EU. And it's been one of our top feature in the market. I think a lot of customers likes the ability to short. They like the ability to get margin, obviously, cross margin between their assets. And we've also spent a lot of time building a very good UX and UI where you can set a take profit or stop loss when you place an order. And I think that's a very big differentiator compared to some of the other platforms where everything has to be manual. And really, we see customers like loving this product. I think it's less complicated than options. For example, you don't have to roll out your contracts every time they expire. You don't have to deal with expiration date at all.
Sure.
You get the margin rate that you want at the moment that you want. So I think so far we've seen a lot of enthusiasm for it. And so I think it's time to bring it into the US.
Let's do it.
So, I know the chairman of the CFTC mentioned that it's one of their top priorities, so we're very excited about that.
Yeah, it's good to see the new products coming out. I think this is a staple now where we're seeing a lot of centralized exchanges really advance forward. What about lending? Any plans for that?
Lending is definitely something that we're looking like any feature. I think, for us, the main point is, like we were saying earlier, like when is it ready for prime time?
Right.
When are we feeling good about the security? And also, like, is it something that our customers are asking for?
Once, yeah, for sure. Last question on Clarity. A lot of things happening right now. Speed to market is coming, most likely once this markup comes through. I know the banks just this morning were kind of pushing back again. Tom Tillis is talking about pushing back on that. If this goes through, let's just pursue the idea that this makes it through to the Senate. It gets through. House puts their stamp of approval on this. We get it through to President Trump's desk, and we have Clarity. What kind of impact would that have on Robinhood?
I think, like I was saying earlier, it will simplify a lot how we build products because we will have one way to think about the rules instead of looking at every single state. I also think for the institution, it's going to be a big unlock. A lot of institutions want to get into crypto. They want to invest or use stable or use assets, but they are worried about how it's going to be defined under like different rules. So I think you will see also this influx of flow from the institution.
All right, Johann, thanks for coming in today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, and also join our free private member group. The link is in the description.